I think we're live. That's how it, like, it didn't do the countdown. Like, it did it on your channel. Did it do a countdown for you?
No. Did you have a countdown?
No, I did not. But I believe that we're
Weird.
live.
I sure hope so. It
I
still says
sure.
scheduled in the corner.
Oh, it says end broadcast in mine and
Oh,
live in
okay.
my corner. So,
Okay.
you know,
Let's see.
who's to say? Hi, everyone. This is an uncomfortable intro with Still Comfy.
It says live. It says live.
Ooh, the metaverse behind the scenes. I'm feeling it, keeping my head right here so no one knows that I just create lighting. Hi, everyone. This is Still Comfy with your hosts, Nat and Jules. Today, we'll be talking about the 1995 classic movie, Now and Then. We don't have a theme song yet on Still Comfy, so instead, I will just ask Jules, what's your favorite song from this iconic soundtrack?
You know when they're riding their bike
Yeah.
to the other city, Shelby?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Knock three
3
times
times
on the ceiling if you want
want me.
me. Yeah, that's
Twice on the pipe. I love a song that has, like,
I
Fogle.
just did the banging, which is
Yeah.
bad. Sorry.
Like, literally, I love a song on that also has sound effects. Oh, we
Yeah,
have a
it's
comment.
interactive.
Mario's here. That's a good reminder. If you are in the audience, we can see that people are watching, but we don't really see who you are unless you tell us hello. So please tell us hello in the comments. Tell us hi.
Comment to Mario and tell him hello?
I don't know.
Oh, no, it doesn't look like I can.
But I can
Mario.
put
You
it on
can?
the screen.
Yay! Mario's
That's
here! I
fun.
was just telling him, I said I finished A Simple Favor, the book, and I'm halfway through the movie. He's not going to like what I have to say.
Just know that I like a simple favor, Mario. So if we need to talk about it afterwards, we can.
Natalie, record yourself doing reactions to my episode of A Simple Favor.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I have no chill. I decided keeping my notes on my phone would be a good thing, but are they? I don't know.
I have mine, but this is you're the lead this time, so I'm here for you.
All right. So, last week 2 weeks ago, we did Elvis on to Pop Culture Makes Me Jealous. I'm just gonna intermingle our show names all the time.
Yeah.
Like, we'll just blend them.
Should I introduce myself?
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, friends. Julia Washington, host of Pop Culture Makes Me Jealous, where we analyze pop culture through the lens of race or gender, and sometimes both. Natalie is the friend who tolerates me the most because she's willing to let me be her co-host. She was willingly co-creators on this show, Still Comfy.
Yeah, and our first Still Comfy show on YouTube was on Elvis. And what this movie and Elvis have in common is songs in this movie are also my comfort soundtrack, just like Elvis.
It's a great soundtrack. Great soundtrack. A lot of Black people on this soundtrack for having no Black people in the movie.
For no Black people in this movie. This movie be so white. So there's dialogue when the songs are playing. Did I stop myself from singing to then listen to the dialogue? Because I was like, no, I know what these girls are talking about. I want to sing.
Yeah. Turns out, after all these years, I still have this movie memorized.
Right. And I'm not a huge rewatcher. I'm pretty sure that this one is one that every time it was on TV, I was like, and here's my afternoon. And I listened to the soundtrack like every day as a kid. It was one of the first like CDs that I owned.
I love that. Do you remember when everyone lost their ish because it went on Netflix?
Yes. I was one of them.
Is it still? Because I had to pay for it through cable.
So I watched it on that thing that you told me I would have to watch ads for. And I was like, that would probably be good for my ADHD if I had an ad in between key parts of the movie. Vimeo? Nope. I'm gonna stop naming people and ain't nobody sponsoring us.
I literally just typed in Netflix instead of Now and Then to see where it's streaming.
You know? My favorite song from the soundtrack is Heart of Gold or Band of Gold. Now that you're gone,
Oh, that's a good
all
one
that's
too.
left is a band of gold. I think it
Yeah.
really set me up to distrust men.
I kind of regret not picking that one, but here's
Mhm.
why I think the Knock Three Times is my favorite. Because it's their transition going from one
Yeah.
city to the next, and they're free, riding their bikes, super
Oh my gosh.
carefree. All of the horrors of the 90s of all the little girls going missing at this point don't exist because it's
Don't exist.
1970, even
Well,
though
they
I'm
did
pretty
exist.
sure that Charles Manson was still on the loose at this point.
I don't think I would have
Um,
survived the 70s.
no,
I
I would
a
have been
cult
living in
member right
actual
away.
tragic fear. Oh, it's on Tubi.
Yes, that's where I watched it. We have 2 viewers now. Say hello so we know who you are because we
Hi,
can't
second
see
viewer.
you.
We're so happy you're
Hello.
here. Thank you for joining
This
us.
is still comfy. We're talking about our favorite, well, one of my favorite movies. It's also one of Jules's favorite
Mhm.
movies, Now and Then. Oh, I promised Mario a Pretty Little Liars connection.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, I saw that and I was like,
yes. The woman who wrote Now and Then also wrote and produced Pretty Little Liars. I
"What?
immediately clocked her name when I went to look and see where I could watch it.
Oh my gosh, that's wild."
That is wild because
So
Pretty
are you
Little Liars, completely opposite vibe.
I was gonna say, so is this an endorsement for me to watch Pretty Little Liars? Because I realized the 90s had so many femme forward, female-led movies
Yeah.
that were strong and super like, "Hey, we're people too, stop treating us like trash." That I feel like that's a huge part of why I am who I am today.
I'm
So,
still
that's not true in
reeling.
Pretty Little Liars?
I'm still reeling that you haven't watched Pretty Little Liars.
No. Do I look like the type of person who watches trashy TV?
I watch every show on Freeform, whether or not it's good.
No, Pretty Little Li was
Freeform.
that always a Freeform show?
It was on ABC Family, and then it was the
ABC
show that
Family, that's right.
transitioned from ABC Family
Yeah,
to Freeform.
yeah.
I'm shook by that. I can't believe it.
Hey, I think after they did, The Secret Life of the American Teenager
Oh,
or
that show was
whatever,
trash. I
that
watched
show
it
is
all.
such trash. I watched a couple of episodes, I think that's where I was like, "And I'm good,"
Yeah.
for a while. And then Freeform brought, like, really good stuff, like Grownish and The Bold Type. Who else was on it? Sorry for that big pop in your ears, friends. Mario PSL or PLL stan here. You can be. We'll allow it. We'll allow
Yeah.
it. But back to this just
I can't believe that. Number one, like, Pretty Little Liars is what broke ABC Family because those Pretty Little Liars started getting naked, and then they were like, "We have to change the name of this channel."
isn't it a book series?
It is a book series.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have a
For
bunch of little dots on my arm. Should I be worried?
I don't know. I'm never worried. I didn't wash makeup off of my wrist. So how'd that get there? I don't know.
I've
I'll
also
worry
been
about it later.
literally living off of chocolate, so that's
Well,
probably why.
so there's
Yeah.
also okay, so there's a big mystery surrounding me and Now and Then, and it has to do with one of my 90s crushes, Thora Birch.
Oh, I thought you were gonna
Where's
say Devon Sawa.
I mean,
'Cause
90s heartthrob Devon
he was
Sawa is in this movie.
yeah, he was my 90s crush.
Thora Birch is my crush in all things, and all I want to know is where she is. Where's Thora Birch? Could
Isn't
someone
she
please like check in on Thora Birch for me?
she's not still acting?
She is, but it's in nothing that I've seen.
So
It's not like
maybe
I'm
she
watch
was just go ahead.
it's not like I'm watching Grey's Anatomy and all of a sudden there's my 90s heartthrob Thora Birch and I'm like, there she is. It's Trini. It's Teeny. Oh my gosh. Mario, do you have a crush on Christina Ricci? Because I find her fascinating. Are you watching Yellow Jackets?
Yeah,
Anyone who is watching
he
Yellow
watched
Jackets,
it.
please comment it.
Yeah, Mario's seen Yellow
Yeah.
Jackets. He's actually mad. He was actually like, "I can't believe you haven't watched it, Julia."
Yeah.
Like, that's a legit conversation we've had.
Well,
But
Jules, it's spooky.
now that it has so many Emmy nominations, I need to sit down and, like, take the
Listen,
time to watch it.
everyone needs to comment if they've watched Yellow Jackets because I need friends to talk to about Yellow Jackets because my mom made me download Showtime, I still have it because what if I
It's
missed when season 2 came out?
yeah, here they'll probably come out in 2023.
I
So
mean, who knows?
okay,
Um,
now and then, Thora Birch is your crush.
she is. I just love her. Oh, I do love Casper, but Devon
Same
Sawa
year,
was Casper.
1995. Yeah, same year.
Did you see the weird Devon Sawa movie where him and his brother might have been a Lawrence brother, but I don't think that's right. They go to a mountain. They go to a mountain that's filled with Kodiak bears, and they're gonna do like a
Oh, isn't it like the
docu-series.
gold something or other? Golden Rush? Hold on.
I don't know. It's got
You see,
mountain.
you gotta stop asking me to look at stuff when we're supposed to be talking about
That's
something
a
specific.
Wild America.
That's
Yes.
it.
No one
That's
it's
it.
one of those movies that I'm convinced I made up because when I go, do you remember when Devon Sawa went to go visit Kodiak bears in their natural habitat? People are like,
What?
"No, Jonathan Taylor Thomas is in it.
Yeah,
That's the other famous
JTT.
person in it."
Mhm.
It's not a Lawrence brother. It might be the oldest Lawrence brother. But in Now and Then, there was a common thread that I
Mhm.
found with all of the adult actresses. So I'm watching the adults because I love that Now and Then like bounces between the childhood and the adults. And I'm looking and I'm like, all right, is Demi Moore still cool? Or is she still a joke because she made a mistake and married Ashton Kutcher? And then I keep watching
In present day, if
in
she's still
present
cool?
day. Is she
Mm,
still cool? Because she was made a joke by Ashton Kutcher. And then I'm
well,
still watching. And then we get Rosie O'Donnell. And I'm like, I miss when Rosie O'Donnell was cool. And we could count on Rosie O'Donnell
the queen of
like
kindness.
being the queen of kindness
Mhm.
and not being a joke, just literally being joyful. But then we turned her into a joke.
The 90s were kind of a magical time if you think
Yeah.
about it. Like, we were still and I don't know if it's because we were kids, so we were naive to a lot of the things that
Mm-hmm.
were actually kind of horrific happening, but,
Right.
like, Rosie was the queen of kindness, Demi
Yeah.
Moore was still
She
cool
was hot.
and beautiful
She's
and,
still
like,
hot.
all these
And then
great like I said, all these great movies that came out for kids like us.
all these great, all of these great movies. And then to round it out, Melanie Griffin is in this movie. And we
Mm.
know that we're not kind about her face anymore. It makes me upset. We're
Yeah,
not. People are
yeah.
like, "Oh, she got surgery, and
Well,
I'm
she
like,
probably got surgery because the media, meaning
"Right,
all the people, probably bullied her about how she looked. And aging,
right,
we're not pro aging in this culture.
we're not aging." So the only one who made it out of not eventually becoming a joke to their own career
Mhm. Rita
and fan
Wilson.
base is Rita Wilson. Who's gonna go against Rita Wilson? I
Well, she
ask
did
you.
give us Chet.
She gave us what?
Her son Chet? Have you never
I've
seen
never no, I only look into that other one. Who's that?
Colin? Colin
Yeah.
Hanks. That's not her son, that's her stepson.
Okay, well,
I mean, I'm sure she would call him her
right.
son.
That's the only one
Um,
I care about.
yeah, but Chet, you have to watch the Z-Way interview. It's on Showtime
Yeah.
with Chet Hanks. So it's like I don't want to ruin it for you, but live time voice memo me.
I will. You know I will. Um, now I just
Oh,
have
yeah, Gold Digger Escape to Bear Mountain.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of because Wild America released the same weekend as some, like, big blockbuster movies
Oh,
or
yeah.
something. Because
And that's probably why
Devin saw
I'm the only one
Devin,
who's
'cause we're
seen
on our birthday
Wild
month.
America.
Yeah, he just posted about it not that long ago because the anniversary of its release was recently,
Yeah.
and he posted the poster.
I loved the Rosie O'Donnell show. I loved when
Mhm.
she would, like, fling koosh balls at us. Rosie
Yes!
O'Donnell knew we all had undiagnosed
And
ADHD.
I love that she had, like, an audience member do the intro.
Yeah.
That was really sweet, like, that was very inclusive.
Yeah. When the Rosie O'Donnell show went off the air, I was forced to watch Maury. Okay? And now look at me. I deserve compensation.
Don't we all? He married Connie Chung, like, that's such a
Yeah,
random like, she's actually I don't know if she still is, but she was a prestigious broadcast journalist.
right. Um, basically what happened is that she came out and then people got homophobic, and then, like, I haven't seen Rosie O'Donnell since. She didn't
Oh,
make a
she's
comeback.
she's working. Yeah, she's done a
Where
lot
is
of stuff.
she? Where is she?
She
Um,
she was she was on Smilf, also on Showtime. So
oh,
I'm just gonna pack your Showtime,
go
make it
for it.
worth it for
Make
you.
it worth it.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the first time in my adult life that I've caught that the neighborhood is called Gaslight Edition.
Yeah.
I was like, "How have I never caught that before?"
I don't
Because if you
know.
think about it, like, their whole upbringing is like Gaslight Nation, right? Because, like,
It's the
you know,
70s.
um, now I'm not gonna remember any of their names, and I had all of their names down pat, but Demi
Teeny,
Moore's little girl person,
Sam.
Sam,
Yeah,
her dad is a liar and leaves.
yeah, yeah.
Christina Ricci is trying to make us all
Roberta.
forget that she has breasts.
Which when I was watching it again, I was like, I can't believe I was convinced that those were big breasts for a 12-year-old.
I know. I blame this movie and the over sexualization of children.
Yeah.
Um, there were other Christina Ricci's dad lied to her about how her mom died, which again, he did it because her mom died horrifically.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like that's a normal thing that adults do when it comes to death, when it comes to children, because we as adults don't know how
Yeah.
to process death.
And then Brendan Fraser had to let them know that America was gaslighting them about the war.
Yeah.
In
God, he
his
was so cute.
he was like a walk-on. They don't even credit him in that movie.
Oh, that's interesting. He was
'Cause,
pretty
like,
famous by that point, wasn't
what
he?
are they gonna call him, like, the grifter? I don't know if he, like, knew Demi Moore and
They
they
could
were
have
hanging out and she was like, "We need an extra today."
they could have called him the vet.
They could have.
You know, and when I was watching the movie, I thought things that you can't really do anymore. Talk to
Right.
strangers like that, take a cigarette, offer cigarettes to 12-year-olds.
Right. Was Brendan Fraser creepy in this movie?
See, you know, and if it were to happen in a movie today,
Right, we'd all be upset.
we'd all be upset. But now, nostalgically,
Mhm.
because they were 12, I was 11 when this film came out. So
Yeah.
there's an element of like, oh, I want, and you know, the mid 90s, there was still a little bit of false sense of security about letting your children roam the neighborhood
Yeah.
without worrying about them. I
This
don't
was
know
a
if my parents would have been thrilled if I rode my bike to the next
Here's
town.
the thing, though. As we know, and as we've talked about before, I was a wildly unsupervised child.
Your mom had a handle on it. It's fine.
For as many rules as my parents believed that they had, where were they to, like, check in to see if I was doing any of that? Wildly unsupervised.
She had a
S
handle on it. It's
My
fine.
mom had a handle on it.
Yeah.
So, we had a bike trail that ran from my neighborhood. It, like, had a entrance on the park
In
that sat in the center of my neighborhood
in Indiana, right?
in Indiana,
Where this film is also set.
where this film takes place.
Mhm.
And when my sister and I were in the 5th grade, like 5th and 4th grade, we would ride our bikes all the way downtown and just be gone.
Huh.
This is before cell phones, this is
Yeah.
before you could track your kids, and it's like,
Yeah.
"Where are your kids? Downtown?" "I don't know." And we would just be gone with all of our, like, jerk-ass friends.
We didn't have a trail, but the way the neighborhood was laid out, excuse me, it was really easy to get into other neighborhoods. So
Yeah,
it was very easy to end up on the other side of town for sure. Downtown was a little bit harder to try and get to, but that's because the layout of the city I live.
right.
Um, but yeah, parents were definitely like, you're not allowed to leave the neighborhood. And so we challenged what that meant. Define neighborhood.
Right, because if it's
Because
on the
we all go
trail
this if this is all the same school district, then it's still the neighborhood, you know,
yeah,
15 blocks over. It's fine.
it's fine. It's fine. I'm assuming that's
Hello,
Paige. It says
Lily.
Lily.
It says Lily.
That's confusing. Do you have an alter ego? Um, Watch me
It
just berate the people that show up to our show to
be
support
kind.
us. I'm like, "What are
Let's
you
be kind.
doing?"
How did Ellen
Um,
always under show be kind to one another
be kind to one
after
another.
she was cruel to
Right.
almost every guest?
But Ellen's
Oh,
mean,
it's
so
Paige. Hi,
it is
Paige.
Paige. Like, I
Welcome
was like,
to we're so
"I'm
glad you're
assuming
here.
that's Paige. That's not her name. Paige is my professional."
Well, we are okay with that.
We are okay with that. We're okay with whatever you wanna talk to your call yourself.
You know what's
Okay,
funny? I
go
also
for it.
wrote down Roberta's obsession with her boobs.
Yes. Because I thought that Roberta's obsession with her boobs, if this movie was remade, like they're
Mhm.
doing A League of Their Own,
Yeah.
wouldn't you believe that adult Roberta would end up in the queer community?
So I actually thought when grown up Rita Wilson, grown up Chrissy said, and with Roberta's alternative lifestyle,
Yeah.
I thought she was going to refer to her having a female partner. And then
No.
she said, living with her partner in sin. And I was
Insane.
like,
Because everything was a
that
sin to
was not a
Chrissy.
90s alternative. That was not a 90s alternative lifestyle. I understood at 11 years old in 1995 that alternative lifestyle meant that you were living with a same-sex partner.
Paige is with me. Paige knows
Yeah.
that Roberta would have ended up in the queer community.
Yeah.
That's why she was so weird about her boobs.
And there's not enough kissing because when she kissed Devon Sawa, he was like,
90s
"That was
heartthrob,
great." And she
Devin
was like,
Sawa.
"It was okay."
It was
And I'm
okay.
like, "Yeah, excuse me, if I had kissed Devon Sawa, I would not have said it was okay." So 100% Roberta is not a fan.
Yeah.
And we needed to give her that space,
We
and no
needed to
one
give her
did.
that space. And we needed to give Rosie O'Donnell that space in
Yeah.
1995. Let these people live their truth.
Yes.
Do you know what I wasn't as uncomfy about as I thought I would be uncomfy about? And
The
I
lack
still
of
found
black
it
people.
very well,
Nothing, go ahead.
I'm always uncomfy about that.
Yeah.
But I actually still found it really endearing that Teeny was the hot one.
Yeah.
And I wrote down, I cannot wait to be grown up Teeny going to my high school reunion, being like, "What up, hoes? I'm famous."
So you know when Melanie Griffith is like, Roberta, how big are your boobs now? And she's like, how big are yours? And she's like, 3016, worth every penny. I repeated that line
Yeah,
so often and like
yeah.
reenacted that scene so often. And now I really wish I didn't I have bigger than that, and I'm not happy about it.
The one for me is the acceptance speech that she's just practicing, where she's
Yeah.
like, "Why, yes, Joel, you're right. It was a big blockbuster."
Yeah.
That's who I am.
I do love Thora Birch. Like we should do Ghost World one day. That's a
I
great
love
film.
Ghost World, and it could be uncomfy
Yeah.
because they make Thora Birch be with that weirdo.
Yeah. And I mean the summer when it came out in '02,
Yeah,
spring? I don't whatever. The point is in my senior year we watched it all the time.
all the time. I watched it again. If it was on TV, I was like, "Oh, Ghost World." Again, I don't even know if my parents ever knew that I watched it because I'm 7-ish years younger than you, right?
Oh my god, no. Not that many.
Why who am I thinking of then?
You're 33, right?
Yeah, I'm so bad at
We
math.
were born in the same decade, thank God.
I am so bad at math. That's why I got your poll wrong. I
You
was
got
like
my poll wrong? Oh, I
yeah,
love that.
I was trying to do the math and I'm like, "I'm this many." And
Yeah, no, I you were 5 years. Wait,
88. Yeah,
you're 4 'cause
4.
but it's closer to 5 because your birthday's in December and my birthday's in March.
Yeah,
So we spend more time being 5 years apart than we do being 4.
yeah. You're right. You've walked me through that before. I'm just dumb.
It's okay. I have this weird obsession with ages because I look at whenever like people from 100 years ago, when I look
Mhm.
at their death dates, and so then I calculate, okay, so how much more time does that potentially mean I have? If
Right.
this person was born in 1880 and
Mhm.
they died in 1925,
Oh
how
my
old are
god.
they? Like I do that shit all the time in my head. It's not healthy.
No. We
Don't
need
worry,
to
I'm
stop
starting
that.
therapy soon. It's gonna be okay.
So I can't wait to be, like, rolling up to my little Indiana town with my already big boobs and just being like, "Hello, everyone. It's me. Bet you never thought you'd see me again because I've built a global empire."
Yeah.
We have like, I think like 2 more years until I graduated in 2007.
So you have 5 years.
We got 5 years to make that happen.
Yeah, we can make that
Honestly,
happen.
I think I could tell my high school anything. They wouldn't know.
I wish I could. My reunion's Saturday, my 20 year.
Try it. Try telling them anything. Who's gonna fight you? Let's do a Romeo and Michelle's.
Yes. Actually, Carly's gonna be my date.
Yes. Please wear the Romeo and Michelle's dresses and then do the dance.
I gotta figure out time to go shopping for an outfit because I've
Please.
packed my schedule this week like a dum-dum because of my sadness of my child being out of town.
So I had like sat with myself with it. I was like, okay, remember, they sexualize a very young Thora Birch, which
Mhm,
means that you also sexualized a very young Thora Birch because you were in love with her.
mhm.
So, like, be ready for that. But I felt like it was still like a very 12-year-old's viewpoint of sexy. Like when
Yeah.
they're doing the Cosmo magazine and she's like, I'm a sex pot. Thank God. I was like, I was kind of that kid. Like,
Or when she fills the balloons with,
with
pudding
pudding because it's more natural.
because
I
it's
was
more
like, yeah,
natural? Like, do you
she's a
know?
scientist. She
Yeah.
did trials. She was like,
Yeah, she was like,
Jello
"The
was
Jello
weird.
was" yeah.
It was wiggly.
"Those guys gave me the idea when they threw those balloons at us."
Through those she's a scientist. She's a sexy scientist.
Oh my gosh, I was the pudding girl. Yep. See,
Yeah.
because
See?
they gave us the idea from that
I know.
movie.
No, I please know that I've been carrying around these Nunga Nungas since I was 12. I
Yeah.
never had to stop. I didn't bind like Roberta, but I also didn't know what to do. I believe I just walked around like this.
I will tell you, like, no, I mean, sorry for shade on my mom. I probably should have been put in a bra at 8 years old.
Probably.
And I didn't get one until, oh my God, my cousin got married in 1998. I was 14,
Do you remember the
which was too, I was probably already a B cup at that point.
do you remember the first time you were
Mhm.
traumatized about your own breasts?
Oh, I was at the doctor
Oh.
and he lifted up my shirt all the way to listen to
Mm.
my heartbeat, and my mother was sitting right there and didn't say anything. After
That's
that,
assault.
I 100% wore a big ass shirt to the
Uh-huh.
doctor. Lo and behold, turns out that's not how they listen to your fucking heartbeat.
At all.
And like it was
Doctors
so
be
like
creepy.
I that memory is seared into my head.
Yeah.
If I think about it too hard, it makes me very uncomfortable, and it's that coupled with not wearing a bra until I was probably 13 or 14 years. It had to have been 14 because we were in Montana looking at bras, I think. Maybe we weren't in Montana, maybe we came back. The bottom line, the point is this is why, like, I have friends who will wear these beautiful lacy bras, but there's
Yeah.
just like a thin layer of lace.
Mhm.
And that makes me very uncomfortable because that means that you could still see if I'm cold or
Yeah.
potentially see through it, even
Yeah.
through my shirt. So I need a nice thick layer of material between my shirt and my boob.
So, we'll get there, Paige, about the trauma of finding stretch marks for the first time. I honestly wish I knew. I wish I had clocked it. But the first time that I was traumatized about my own breast is we used to have a friend who, because of some family situations, spent a lot of Monday nights at our house. And we would watch Degrassi, which if you're ready to get comfy about Degrassi, you
With
just let
Drake,
me know. You just
right?
let me know.
With Drake, right? With
With
Drake.
Drake.
Yeah.
Drake makes me uncomfy. I
Team
don't know.
mixed,
Okay,
but
well,
we don't need to claim them.
but team also grooming Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah,
So if
yeah.
anyone would like to direct her this way so I could like have a honest heart to heart with her, please
When
do.
I was having a conversation with somebody about Persuasion and how I was disappointed with Dakota Johnson, there's your Melanie Griffith connection,
Mhm.
um, portrayal because her British accent and so someone's like, what other young 20-something actress could do it? Millie Bobby Brown? And I was like,
Like
bitch, that
18.
child is the same age as my child.
Yeah.
She just been sexualized.
Yeah, she just got Kim K wigs and they make her post weirdly in magazines.
Yeah.
Um Where was I going? Oh, so he would come over, he would spend the night on Mondays, and my mom would get him ready for school on Tuesdays. It was like a thing. It happened every week, whatever. I came down wearing ruffly shorts for PJs. It was a Winnie the Pooh PJ set. And then it had like a tank top with it. Like it was a pajama set.
Yeah.
And I thought I was doing the responsible thing because I matched my tops to my bottoms. And I
Yeah, because
usually don't do that.
that's what you do. That's why the set
Right.
exists.
I meant like I went the extra mile because we had company and I matched my tops to my bottoms.
I have a
And I
story for you about pajamas offline that I can't share publicly.
wonderful. And I thought that like I had completed the assignment. Well, I had freed the Nunga Nungas because they had been trapped all day.
I mean, it's the best feeling in the world.
And I walked downstairs and my mom grabbed my arm and yanked me. And I went, "What?"
Put them back.
And she went, "He's over. It's Monday night." And I went, I mean, this was a kid that I had like grown up with from the
Yeah.
time that I was in 4th grade until whatever year this is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, he's like, my sister and I were too lazy to walk our asses all the way to our house after the summer school that my mom forced us to be in. So she didn't have to look at us. And so we would stop at his house, watch Labyrinth and Logan's Run, and then be in his pool all day. Sometimes we had swimsuits, sometimes we jumped in our t-shirts. Like he had seen me in every iteration of
Yeah.
myself. But
Yeah.
that day, my mom clocked how big my boobs were and she went, "Ugh. He can't see you like that."
Yeah.
And then it was like, and that's for when your uncles come over, when you're staying the night with your cousins at your aunt's house,
Mhm.
any of it. I also remember, have you ever been told by an uncle that they won't hug you anymore?
No, all of my family lives long distance. So we
Well,
didn't grow up with uncles. We only grew up with aunties.
so my uncles also live long distance, but we, visited.
Yeah.
And I went in for the hug with my dad's brother, and he literally like ghosted away from me. And I'm like, and he went, "Uncles don't hug." Now, every uncle on my mom's goddamn side of the family, like, you could
My
like literally be lifted off the ground with the veracity that people want to hug over on that side of that family.
Yeah, that's interesting. I just saw my uncle a month ago and he hugged me.
Nope. It's uncles don't hug. And
Huh.
it was because I was a teenager and I had tits. I know it.
Huh.
So I get where Roberta is coming from. Like, you get your tits in.
And she's in a house full of boys who roughhouse and
Uh-huh.
there's no other influence other than this sort of like I
The
mean, we
fact,
see them fucking fighting in front of her,
yeah,
rolling around on the ground in front of her door
the fact that she had as good of a bra on as she did,
for the 70s.
yeah, with a dad buying it for her,
Yeah.
shocked. An
Yeah.
aunt probably had to come into
And
town.
that tape hurt when she took it off because it was on her skin, on her
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, Christina Ricci. We weren't thinking.
No. No. And I will say that I think this movie did sort of help me understand that I could tape my boobs if I wanted
Mhm.
to.
Yeah. But I don't want to. It seems very painful. And like,
Yeah, that's just
I,
why I'm so glad that they make the high intensity sports bras now.
right, due to the casual groping of the late 90s, early 2000s, when I had the luxury of going to middle school and high school, um, my boobs and I had kind of like a detached relationship where men would grope me in the lunch line and I'd go, "That's fine," because they're just like right there. What are they not? They're not just gonna like bump their entire hand into it and cup it a little. So
That makes me uncomfortable because that also happens to me, and I have a large posterior.
yeah. Yeah. Casual groping of the 90s, early 2000s. Okay, go for it. Oh, I thought
Me?
you said
And I said, yeah.
uh also,
Mm.
because I have no concept of time, and we
Whoa.
know this,
Yeah.
I thought Bonnie Hunt and Christina Ricci were the same age. So when Bonnie Hunt showed up as Thora Birch's mom, I was like, "Oh, that's
I
right."
thought she was Christy's mom.
As Chrissy's mom, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I love that scene, the
Yeah, where
garden.
she's like, you have to have a hose to water it. A small hose will work too.
Yeah. And then Chrissy goes with her with with her trash mouth friends. I love that line. You know, I didn't think I'd have to have this talk with you, but because your friends are trash mouths. Huh?
Oh yeah, the side hug. Back to the
Oh,
hug thing. Mario's
oh,
comment. The church I went to, which will not be named, we called it the church's name side hug. And then people that I knew in adulthood from that church who left religion, that we still refer to it. Shall we give each other a blah 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 side hug?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, yeah, the watering can.
A watering can.
And
It's
then when they're later at that hangout spot or whatever, and Chrissy's like, "No way, I don't want to get pregnant."
I
And
don't
they're
wanna
like,
get
"Chrissy,
pregnant. And
how
they're
do
like,
you think you
"Chrissy."
get pregnant?"
The fact that Chrissy is the first one to get pregnant blows my mind.
And probably the only one to get
Yeah.
pregnant. And you know that child is 20. You don't know how old this child is because
No,
you don't
I
do
have no
math.
concept of time.
Yeah, but if it was October of 2020, or excuse me, October of 1995,
Yeah.
this child will be 27 this year. Yeah.
Wow.
How's that feel?
Ah. Um, I didn't need that number.
Sorry.
So
I don't have a life, so this is what I do.
but I love that scene because it takes me back to how my mother chose to tell me about sex, and it was through a giant pile of Laverne Spencer romance novels, and she said something along the lines of, "Your grandmother and I love this author," so it was like a generational tradition or something, um, and they're soft. Like, I remember her saying them something like, "The sex is soft and kind," or something, so, like, here you go.
Oh my
This this
god.
is what sex should be. And I was like,
I I learned about it in freshman health class.
yeah,
I had an idea because of pop culture, but no
mhm,
one sat me down and had a
no one,
conversation until we had health my
yeah.
freshman year.
I'm sure I also eventually had a health class who God knows though, I grew up in Indiana.
Yeah,
So I think
California health class versus Indiana health
so I
class.
think the only way to get true birth control talk in Indiana was if you took the child development class where they, like, gave you the robot baby.
Oh, interesting.
Mhm,
Yeah, because
mhm,
making me take care of a baby for the weekend is gonna be birth control.
right.
No.
But then she would at least go into, like, condoms and other forms of contraceptions, but in regular health class, hell no.
Oh,
They didn't get
interesting.
out a banana and was like, "This is how you
Like, and
don't get
never been
pregnant."
kissed.
Right.
I had the health teacher that everyone was like, this health, like all the students were like,
Yep.
this health teacher's good because she'll answer every question. She'll tell you the truth. Da, da, da. And then when she ran for city council in the city where she lived, like the conservatives lost their shit. She
Lost
doesn't,
their shit.
she shouldn't be in charge, da, 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 all this stuff. And I was like, I don't see anything wrong with her. She was a great health teacher.
Right.
Like, I
God
didn't have sex.
forbid.
Yeah, like I didn't have sex in high school. So she did a good job.
I also didn't have sex in high school. I think it's because of my perm, to be honest. I think it's because I was unattractive in high school. I mean, let's be honest. But my friend was at the county fair today, and she was, like, clocking a lot of men that we went to high school with, and I was like, "Tell them they could have had their chance, and now I'm hot and famous."
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's their loss.
we had to take care of a bag of flour,
Bag
no
of
robot baby. It was a
flour?
literal robot baby, and maybe not live on the internet, I will tell you about the racism that I went through because of the race of the baby that I got that morning.
Mm,
Yeah. Mhm.
that's
This just
Indiana.
in, Indiana be racist.
Yeah.
Um, so, yeah. So, sex ed was done through sex novels, and my friend Stephanie, who's at the county fair right now, maybe with her kids, she used to go she's like, "No wonder you think men should be, like, nice to you and put in effort and, like, give you an orgasm every time. That's how your mom told you to that sex would be. It would be in a field and flowery,
Flowers?
and you would have been brought in from the to the wild, wild west to teach a room full of students, and the guy that fix the fiery stove would light a fire in your pants. No.
Yeah, I feel like it's what should happen.
What should happen?
Yeah.
I do feel like there was something to it. Like,
Yeah.
I still didn't have men who were nice to me while we were having sex, so
Can we talk about Sam's mom dating for a second?
yes. Do
First
you
of all
want
the cameos in this movie are great.
all the cameos are great. Do you wanna know my note for Sam's mom and the divorce?
Yeah.
I wrote down, "As you know, like Sam, I too have a hot mom who loves to do hot mom shit." Like, my mom loves hot girl shit to the point where, like, she tried to be mad at me when I told her that her new puppy was going to ruin her hot girl shit and her hot girl summer, and she's like, "What is hot girl shit?" I was like, "It's literally the way that you live your life." And she's like, "What does that even mean, though? Like, what does that mean?" I go, "It's hot girl shit. You do hot girl shit because we hot girls." I
Yeah.
go, "Me going to silent disco, hot girl shit. You like picking up dog shit because you took your dog to the coffee place, not hot girl shit." Like, this is not hot girl shit.
Not hot girl shit at all.
No.
I was like, okay, Samantha, we get you're upset. You're 12. This is a big deal. It's the 70s. Nobody understands, divorce at this point, right?
Right.
But as an adult watching it, knowing what we know about the 70s.
I love that I'm in charge of the CNN role today. And I love that on your episode, you use them to make fun of me. And on my episode, I'm also using them to make fun of me. I've made fun of you once because you didn't watch Pretty Little Liars, and I find that ridiculous.
Sorry. Please still be my friend. But as an adult who solo parent, it
Mhm.
was like this moment of like, she has to be in a relationship to survive. It's the 70s.
It's the
She can't
70s.
get a bank account without a
No.
husband. She literally can't do anything but be domesticated, especially in a neighborhood called the Gaslight,
Addition.
especially in a city like in a state like Indiana. Like she
Right.
has to be attached, and it's
She
so
had to put her go-go boots on, and she had to go, go, go find herself another man.
Hank Azaria, which I don't know if that was a
Hank
good choice,
Azaria.
but the point is that, there's this thing that movies do when they are
Mhm.
period pieces, like Now
Yep.
and Then Is, where
Mhm.
there's such criticism through the child's eyes
Right.
about this next step mom is making, but there's no context for like
No.
the actual reason. So in a way, while it's obviously the movie's through 12-year-old eyes,
Yeah.
but we never get a resolution, or we never get any sort of explanation later that sort of like shows that Sam maybe later understood, like, because she wasn't aware of like the disparities that existed for women because she's a child,
Mhm.
so it's sort of kind of perpetuating the fact that her mom's just a hoe trying to
Yeah.
be a hoe,
Sure.
when
She put on her go-go boots, and she was like, "Hot girl summer."
hot girl summer because Nancy Sinatra said so.
They were all having hot girl summer. Those girls rode their bikes and met a grifter
Yeah,
and
who
stole
was
boys'
kind of hot.
underpants.
Yeah.
Brendan
And
Fraser was hot, okay? I'm not gonna say is. There's no present tense there.
not everyone ages okay. It's
Well,
genes.
and I know that Brendan Fraser was bullied, by Hollywood, so that might have gone into it.
Yeah, I
I
mean, I
watched him on
spent
TikTok cry because a fan was nice to him.
Aw,
I
I would be
know.
nice to him because I
I
just think
love
he has a
Brendan
great
Fraser.
personality. Ooh, that's a bad color for me.
Favorite Brendan Fraser movie?
Encino Man.
Oh, mine is George of the Jungle. And we could do it on this show.
Have you
I
seen please tell me you've seen Encino Man.
I don't think I've seen
Oh
Encino Man.
my god.
I've seen all of the Mummy movies, and that is my sexuality.
Natalie, the minute my kid was old enough, I sat him down and was like, "You need to see this movie."
You know what?
And I wasn't embarrassed.
I'm good. I'm glad. Oh, I'm gonna say it live on air so both of us clock it. I do think that we should take the single mom episode that we were gonna do on my show and make it a two-parter on your show, and we talk about single moms and childless women in media.
Yeah, I actually think that's a great idea. I've got a lot of
I'm
thoughts.
smart.
Yeah, well,
Very smart.
we make a good team.
I'm a genius.
Oh my god.
My high school reunion is gonna be so jealous.
Damn it,
I
how can I make my high school reunion jealous? I got 4 days.
you know,
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah,
we
like
can
4 days.
let me ask the audience in a poll.
Can you do a poll?
I've been doing them in the scrollers to try and get comments.
Yeah. What should I wear? It's supposed to be 98 degrees. Will the Lachey's be there?
Will the Lachey's be there?
I wish. Jeremy Renner went to my high school. I mean,
That's what I'm saying, is Jeremy Renner gonna be there?
he graduated like 10 years before I did.
Oh.
And so did Timothy Oliphant. He went to my high school, but again, also graduated
I
like
have
a
a
decade before me.
giant thing for Timothy.
He was just
Oliphant.
spotted in Modesto because his folks still live here. So he was in town visiting. He went to his 20-year high school reunion.
A giant thing, and it's all because of Deadwood. It's all because of
That's
Deadwood.
fair.
I can't spell reunion. That's embarrassing.
You spelled reunion wrong?
And thank God there was a red line before I put it on the scroller.
You know, life's hard.
Also, so I'm watching Sam and Sam's mom go through a divorce, and I immediately want to start doing hot girl shit. And I was like, you know, the movie takes place in the 70s. I was hi.
Keep talking.
Hello.
The movie takes place in the 70s.
I was alive in the 90s. We weren't that much better in Indiana about divorce.
Really?
Mm-mm. I remember there being like a pointed comment about my friend whose parents were divorced, and they
Huh.
rented their house
Oh,
in our
heaven
neighborhood.
forbid.
They did not own the house in our neighborhood. I
That's
remember a
not-
pointed
That's
comment
still a
about
thing,
it.
I think, being a
I'm
rent.
sure.
Like, but now everyone's a renter because millennials, younger millennials and Gen Z can't afford to buy.
Right. So I was thinking about it, and I was like, and you know what? Are we even today better about divorce in the more Midwestern states? I go, because everyone wanted to turn on John Mulaney when he got divorced. Like, we're still weird about divorce. I'm gonna start
You know,
congratulating people on their divorce when
I
they
do.
tell me.
I
I'm gonna be
do.
like,
When someone tells me that they're getting a divorce, I gauge it first. Like, are we happy? And if they say yes, then I say, congratulations, I'm proud of you for finally getting out.
I'm gonna say something along the lines
Also,
of,
I'm probably the friend who already told you that you probably should have gotten a divorce because I'm very vocal about whether or not I think that a relationship is bad for somebody.
right. I'm probably going to tell you something along the lines of, I'm so happy that you're getting yourself out of a situation that clearly wasn't the right one.
Yeah. Yeah. And also when before you get married and you need to know whether or
Yeah.
not it's going to last, just call me because I have accurately predicted all of the divorces to the year so
Yeah.
far in adulthood.
Another
Not that I'm proud. I'm not bragging.
another tie-in to our One Tree Hill shows that we do on Tuesday. Girls with
Formerly
dead
different.
moms always want to be toying with death.
Yeah, Roberta, what did she do? She jumped off out of the tree and dove into a shallow body of water.
And then she just pretended to be dead man
float.
floating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I understood how morbid that was until later in life.
And good on Chrissy for immediately calling her on it, because everyone was kind of tiptoeing around the fact that like Roberta does weird shit because her mom's dead.
Yeah.
And then Chrissy was like, hey, people actually care about you. Can you not pretend to be dead?
Yeah. Yeah. From the jump, the movie does a really good job at letting you know that Chrissy and Roberta are the pair that stays and are like solid friendship and probably would have, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and that Teeny and Sam were the two who felt boxed in when we're going to leave.
Yeah.
Like, it was clear from even before we saw Teeny do her, acceptance speech. Yeah.
Do you recall recent movies that are as honest about like girlhood as this movie is, I feel like this is very true to girlhood. It's a very innocent
Am I
look.
frozen?
Oh,
Or
you're
is it
frozen.
you?
Now that you're
It's me.
gone, all that's left
What's
is a
happening?
band of gold. I don't know. I'm vamping. There we
Okay.
go.
Well,
Uh-huh.
well, it's like I said earlier, like the 90s were kind of a magical time
Mm-hmm.
because you have a plot, you
Yeah.
stick with the plot throughout the whole movie. There's no
Mm-hmm.
super duper like we're going this way and then coming
Yeah.
back. Like it's a commitment to the plot. And then the 90s were so femme forward
Yeah.
to a degree that I'm just like, there's no way any of, I mean, there is because people of my generation are shitty, but people who are obsessed with pop culture, like we didn't come out unscathed from the, hey, maybe we should have equity because I'm valuable, bitch. Like that's
Right.
the overwhelming message from a lot of these films from the 90s that
Yeah.
were geared towards female audiences,
And it's also that
young and old.
young and old. And it's also there was an idea throughout all 90s femme forward movies that at the end of the day, it was going to be your girlfriends that got you through. Who
Yep.
cares if you kissed Devon Sawa?
Right. Which I love when she said, please don't tell anybody.
If
Because
you
not
tell
because
anyone, I'm going to kill
she's
you.
embarrassed, because
Yeah,
she doesn't want anybody to know.
right. Because it's embarrassing to be kissing 90s heartthrob Devon Sawa.
Yeah.
Um,
He's
and
married now, so that would be inappropriate.
there's there's very little times that I watch television or movies and I go, there it is. That is how you depict these
Mhm.
middle ages before you're a teenager and before you're and after you're like a child.
Mhm.
And Never Have I Ever is one of them. I think that that show does a brilliant job of making sure that there are stakes, but they're not stakes that like a 13-year-old would never have.
Right.
Like Degrassi, all over the place.
Yeah, well, it's interesting too when I think about, because I was 11, so I was
Yeah.
clearly the audience for this movie, and I
Mhm.
clearly related to it, the riding the bikes and
Yeah.
just being free in the neighborhood. And then when I was thinking about it a little bit deeper too, like this is truly a coming of age narrative.
Yeah.
A lot of times we think of coming of age as like, oh, you're going from teen years to adulthood, but really what coming of age is when you have a transition in life, when
Yeah.
something in your life is changing and you
Mhm.
are changing and growing from that. But it's been co-opted to be the stories about like, I'm graduating high school and what the fuck next kind of shit.
Yeah.
And Now and Then really does encapsulate, as you're saying,
Yeah.
that transition of, hey, we're, because you can kind of tell
Yeah.
that after this summer, the four girls are still close, but they're kind of, these two are going this way and these two are going this way.
But you know what? I'm glad that you brought that point because when Demi Moore does that last monologue about that summer kind of being the summer that fractured them, I go, I must have never have paid attention to that line before because I'm like, no, this is the summer where you all kind of figured it out.
Yeah.
Like you figured out that you're all four really fucking different, but there's a lot of love there. And like Sam and Teeny figured out that the old guy on the bike wasn't scary. How
Mhm.
innocent though, when that old man, it almost made me cry when that old man goes, "Why are you afraid of me?"
Yeah.
And Julia walks in with Chris Evans. That's how she makes everyone jealous. Yes, send him the DM. What are you doing? He might have a free weekend. Sometimes celebrities do that just for the bit. He's hyper focused on finding a wife. He told us all.
And I don't
And
actually
that's
believe
on
in the
him.
institution of marriage, so it's not going to be a great.
That's on him.
Yeah.
He told us that, and now we be bold. Um,
You should send him a
what's
DM.
the old
Listen,
man
I'm not
think?
hot enough for the celebrities to respond to in DMs. I'm learning this, which is real irritating.
How am I hot enough? I don't understand.
Huh?
I I have had celebrities respond to me.
Have you?
Bennett from The Bachelorette, the most white privileged one of them all, who
Okay, well that's
probably
the Bachelorette. Like
what
not to like scale it,
I
but
just need us all to know.
I do love that for you, though, and I will
Um,
remain in jealousy.
Still waiting for Tom Hiddleston to commit to taking me back to my correct timeline.
Listen, he's busy trying to have a baby.
I told him he could bring that baby.
What about
That
his
baby doesn't
girlfriend?
need
Are they
that
married?
baby. I don't
Or
want Tom Hiddleston for his dick. I want him to take me to a timeline that I have rights.
you can get a credit card without a man.
I can. It's not 1979. But I really thought
You could get a home loan without a
I
man.
I could.
Mhm.
I have one, and I really thought that, like, when Demi I was like, "That's a really cold and callous way to sum up that summer," and I'm like and I get it, it's Demi Moore, she's chain smoking, she don't wanna
I
be there.
I didn't see it as cold and calloused.
Oh, I
I
did.
thought I saw it as an awareness that that summer changed them so much
Yeah,
that, like, even though they made this pact and will show up for each other, they still understand that, like, they're growing apart.
yeah,
Which is actually kind of beautiful because how many times do you grow apart from people and it hurts, but you don't recognize that you're growing apart and you're fighting to
mhm,
keep it together and it ends up being more pain and sorrow and hurt
yeah,
than it needs to be.
and it's very clear that they're all still a part of each other's lives in the
Mhm.
way that they can show up,
Right.
which I
Right.
think
Because if I was a big old fucking celebrity like
yeah,
Well, you know what? I probably still text Abby and Stacy every day like I do.
yeah.
My 2
I
best
told
friends from high school.
Literally, Stephanie told me while she was at the county fair today that I will be so lucky when I'm famous because she will still let me know about all of the shit that's going on in our shitty county. And I'll
Yeah.
be like, I mean, I'll put you on payroll for that because I
See,
would love to know.
this is why I need to move because I'm the friend who's texting all of the people who left.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Here
Well,
but what's so funny though, Carly's sister is coming with us because she and I graduated the same year. She was texting me, she's like, "I've convinced this person to go, and this person to go, and this person to go." And so backstory, I make fun of I tease Stacy because she don't remember anybody we went to high school
yeah.
with. So then when Becca's telling me about all these people who are gonna be there, I'm like, "I literally know who none of those people are."
None of these people are.
Here I was, proud of myself for keeping everyone in the
Right.
loop about the gossip, and
Right.
now I'm like, "I don't know who these people are." It's gonna be great. Maybe I
It's
should
going to
get
be
my
great.
makeup professionally done.
What's the old man's name? Is it Crazy
Pete.
Pete?
Yeah, Crazy Pete.
When Crazy Pete just asks them in a rainstorm after he's fucking saved Sam. And whose bracelet was that? Was that Teeny's or was it Sam's?
It was Teeny's necklace that she broke into bracelets for the 2 of
Oh,
them.
for the two of them.
And she's
Okay.
like, "No, Teeny, you left that bracelet, don't." And, like, that to me was
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god, that's such a huge
Yeah.
thing for tween," which wasn't a word in '95,
Yeah.
girls to do was to, like, share your beloved something with
Right.
your friend, like, that's a huge gesture.
Yeah. And so when Crazy Pete saves them and he just like looks off into the rainstorm and he goes, "Why are you afraid of me?" And like that's a very honest moment
Yeah.
that I don't think we get very much anymore around but from our eccentrics.
Mhm.
And then Teeny also has like a very appropriate like 12-year-old response to that. And she goes, you only come out at night and it's kind of scary. And I'm
Yeah,
like, and then empathy grew. And if
yeah,
you were on our live last night with One Tree Hill on Instagram, you would know that I've decided that empathy is actually the solution.
yeah.
Maybe he murdered his wife and kid. I don't know.
I don't think do you
I
think
don't
he
think he
did? I
did.
don't think he did. I think he lives with
Men
the
are
guilt of
tricky.
having been a drunk at the bar.
Yeah.
I think he lives with that guilt.
Hmm.
Survivor's guilt's already hard, but then
Yeah.
survivor's guilt coupled with you probably were a drunken husband who couldn't already provide for your family,
Yeah.
and then now this, like,
I
ultimate.
I forgot how much I actually loved the Crazy Pete
Mhm,
storyline. Well, for
mhm.
one thing, I wore my "Let's Have a Seance" shirt yesterday because I thought we would be doing now and then, and I was like, I love seances.
Where they had multiple
They
seances.
had multiple seances, and I was
Which,
like, how am I both Teeny and Sam?
you know, for wait, does that can't make me Roberta and Chrissy because 'cause I'm neither of
No,
those
at
things.
all.
But I will say, considering how many times they had a seance and the fact that I grew up in a conservative Christian home, I
I'm surprised you
cannot
could watch
believe
this
I
movie.
was just gonna say that I'm surprised my parents let me watch this. They probably didn't understand what was happening. They probably didn't know.
Oh, we didn't
Because
know.
my
We don't.
dad's friend owned a video rental place when we were kids. So everyone went to Blockbuster. I mean, we did too, but we also went to this independently owned one.
Yeah. There was no actual like spirit board. There were just candles in a
Yeah.
circle.
And
Your
palm to
parents
palm.
maybe palm to hot palm. Your parents maybe thought that they were praying to Marilyn Monroe.
We don't have that many candles in the Christian church unless you're Catholic.
I am Catholic.
Okay.
That's why
Well,
I'm
I'm telling
confused.
you, non-Catholic
Um,
churches don't have candles in them.
well, who knew?
Apparently I did.
Do you know what's another, like, just really quaint detail I picked up? And I don't know why it makes me feel so warm inside, but I think it's because this is the person I am. Do you wanna guess at what scene it
No.
is?
No,
Okay.
I want you to tell me.
When they are painting the garage and
Oh,
they're all in, like and they're
big,
barefoot.
oversized
Yeah.
plaid shirts and barefoot,
And
yeah.
it was the fact that they were barefoot
Yeah,
and they were dancing,
yeah.
and I have been barefoot as an adult painting and dancing with when I was the drama club, coach,
I love that.
and one day he found Whoopsie paint at Home Depot, and he was like, "We gotta paint the sets and the stage floor and the walls with this Whoopsie paint," and I remember cleaning up badly from dinner because I don't clean, and then going to the school at night, and he put on who does the Funk Shore Brothers? Check it out now.
Oh, yeah, from She's All That.
Yeah, who's that band?
I don't know. I don't know if I ever knew because I listened to it on the She's All That soundtrack.
See, he didn't put the band on the mix that he made me, and that's why I don't know their name anymore. Fatboy Slim? It's Fatboy
Fatboy
Slim.
Slim?
Yeah, he loved that band, and he had all of their songs, and that's what we did. Like,
They
I would
had
have
more songs than
yeah,
that one?
I would have the roller, and I would just be, like, rocking out, and I'd be like, "The Funk Shore Brother, check it out now. The Funk Shore Brother," because I did not know the She's All That dance. Maybe I'll learn it if we decide to do it on Still Comfy.
She's All That?
Yeah, let's learn how to do the dance.
I used to know how to do the dance.
I used to know how to do the Napoleon Dynamite dance.
Which reminds me, my former pal from my former dance studio told
Yeah.
me that classes are signing up now. So I get to be, the nearly 40-year-old signing up to relive her youth.
I
Yeah,
love
I'm not
that for
embarrassed
you.
by it. She's like, "Are you gonna take jazz?" I was like, "I really think I want to take tap because stomping around sounds really fun." Because I took tap as a kid, so
Yeah,
it's like it's once you learn how to do it, when you learn how to do it as a kid, it doesn't go away.
right.
Um, your
I
body
took
still will do those things. It's
I
just
took a
harder
year of
because
tap, and then Peg and Hot Mom made me quit
why? Because it gave them a headache. Tap, tap, tap,
because,
tap, tap.
again, empathy is the solution.
Mhm.
My grandma Peg used to walk me through I was her shopping buddy.
Aw.
Because she knew that she knew I had that fat kids never die attitude, and I wouldn't ask her to stop. So my mom and Peg had taken me shopping that day. I was exhausted, and I
Mm-mm.
bitched about going to rehearsal, and then my mom went, "That's it, you're done." I don't know if I had bitched before a lot or whatever, or maybe once again, no one thought I was talented, but
Aw.
but every once in a while, because it was a tap ballet class,
Mm.
and I had to have been in kindergarten because we were still living where my mom's side of the family lives. And every once in a while, I'll look at my mom and I'll be like, "Hey, maybe instead of putting me in Weight Watchers when I was a teenager, you could have fostered my love for ballet and I could have gotten skinny that way."
You
In the
know,
abusive way that they make dancers get skinny.
cardio's really good.
Yeah.
Like, it's a great way to do cardio. I've told you this. I'm working on videos where, like, I create a Spotify list and then we
Mhm.
just kind of like do these fun little dance
Yeah.
routines.
Yeah.
Um, hoping to launch by fall. But it's a really great way for you to just sort of get stuff out. And I loved tap until I had a really shitty teacher.
Mhm.
The last song I did a tap recital to was we had the Footloose song.
Footloose,
So
footloose.
every time that song comes on, we hated this instructor so hard. We knew the routine.
Yeah,
We still stood up on stage like we
yeah,
didn't
I
because we
believe it.
hated her and didn't want her to keep teaching.
Well, the last song that I tapped to was Les Poisons from The Little Mermaid.
Oh, I love that.
Mhm, mhm. We were like
My
little chefs.
my very first dance was to Care Bears. We had a recital at the it was we were Care Bears. We were had a recital at the county fair, and I was the sleepy Care Bear, which was totally appropriate.
Can we go
Still have
back
my
to
costume.
Can we go back to Hank Azaria though?
Yeah.
Because this is actually my feminist point about this. Hank
Yeah.
Azaria and men who try to date women with young children and they try to do that through the young children, immediate red flag. Don't
Yeah.
tell my kids you're taking them on a trip.
Yeah, that's a thing that makes me super uncomfortable. The other thing that makes me uncomfortable is how it has their he commented that it's their first date. I don't know if you
Oh,
caught
the
that.
girls.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
like,
we
"Oh,
don't date
well, the
children.
first date," and I was like, "No, I think it was his first date
Oh,
with
the
mom,"
mom.
and I thought, "God, the '70s, what a time to be a single mom."
What a time to be alive where she's like, maybe this guy will sign up for a credit card with me.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right, like, it is a little bit of a red flag, and 2, um, I don't know. It
Yeah.
just
It
watching it
bothers me. It
yeah,
bothers
watching
me
it
every time it's a plot point in a movie.
yeah. I have to tell you, when I do online dating, if they put their kids in their profile pictures, I
No.
swipe no because
No.
now I know what your children look like. I could be a crazy psycho
Right.
bitch. I could not be. It doesn't, you you get to find out. But it's one of those things where I'm just like, have some you're allowed to have privacy
Yeah.
until you get comfortable with somebody. Um,
It actually made me really uncomfortable during Girl Meets World that Sean Hunter had a really solid relationship with Maya and then
mm.
decided to date her mom. I was like, you can't date moms through their kids. Creep. This just did.
I used to have this thing where Jackson would shit, where the
I don't know how
where
to bleep that.
I know, it's fine. Where I used to have this thing where, like, I'm living alone now,
Mhm.
empty nester stuff, whatever. My kid comes home from college. This is the problem with doing shows with your friends. The level of privacy that you try to achieve, it goes away.
Right.
Um,
It basically becomes a FaceTime call.
yeah, pretty much. And, my kid comes home and he's like, "Oh, I brought home this professor
Yeah.
because he didn't have anywhere to go for Thanksgiving, and we always do a big thing for
Mhm.
Thanksgiving." And anyway, I don't want to finish that story because we all know that I want to live in a buttoned up
Yeah.
rom-com.
Okay, so you know how Sam's grandma comes no, they go to Sam's
Cloris Leachman. I was
Cloris
gonna say, can we
Leachman.
have a moment for Cloris Leachman? Because
R.I.P.
oh
Cloris
my
Leachman.
god, she's a
She's so
fucking
great.
genius.
When they go over to her house and they want to know about Crazy Pete and the murders, and Cloris Leachman is like, "Oh no, some things we just don't need to talk about." And I was like, "How is Cloris Leachman the exact opposites of my grandmother and my great aunts?" Because my grandmother and my great aunts would have been like, "Sit down." And then they would have had a rehearsed reenactment of those murders and all of the new my so I had a great uncle who died young tragically.
Hmm.
And my grandma Peg and my favorite great aunt, they would my mom likens it to a Greek choir, the way that they tell when they had to go to Washington, D.C. because he was passing away. And it's a
Hmm.
terrible story, but it is kind of comical how they tell it because they tell it
Well, and they've
like
had,
they're giving
40
their
years
Oscar
probably.
speech.
Yeah, they've probably had 40 years to relive it and
Oh
sort
yeah.
of yeah,
Well, and they were so young. Like
yeah.
they were I don't think that they were 22. They were so young. It was it was like their now and then summer. That was their
Oh, wow.
life-changing moment, right? Where
Mhm.
they had to their husbands were already at the hospital in DC and they had to get from Illinois to DC on their own and it was probably I don't know. It was before women could have credit cards. Like, and they just had to, like, they had to get on a train, they had to drive to the train, they had to
Yeah.
figure it all out. There was no Google,
Yeah.
and it was to go to this
Oh, yeah.
tragic thing.
The paper maps that you
Yeah,
had, like yeah. I
and it
could
was
never read those.
and it was to and I mean, my grandma and my great aunt, who I love dearly, were best friends for a lot of reasons, but I'm sure that
Mm.
that's one of the reasons that cemented it.
Yeah, there's things that we talk about
Yeah.
that all the time, trauma bonding.
Right. So when Cloris Leachman was like, "No, no, no, I don't wanna talk about the murders," I was like, "What is this? This is not how Croatians behave. Croatians go, 'Oh, do you want the tea? Oh, good, I made tea. Sit down.'" And then they go, "It was a dark and stormy night. Your grandfather and I were watching Letterman, and we knew that Pete had a drinking problem, but no one told him. But we knew." And then, like, you're sitting there and you're 12 and you're overhearing things that you shouldn't.
Mhm.
And then your grandmother is like, "It was bloody. The splatters on the wall, I could paint them now." That would have been my family.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if my family would have you know what would have happened? My auntie would have been like, "I'll tell you when your mother leaves the room."
Oh, yeah. That's how my aunt showed me grease. That's how my aunt gave me nail polish, like, when my mother wasn't around. But then, because I'm the oldest grandkid,
Yeah.
but then when my uncle turned around, and my uncle and I are only 12 years apart, and showed her boys Waterboy at a very young age,
She lost it.
mad. And I was like, "What are you mad about?" I was like,
You did
"You
the
took me to
same.
every PG-13 movie that
Yeah.
these schmoes wouldn't let me see."
Yeah, my aunt did the same thing. I saw The Good Son
Yeah,
probably before I should have. That's probably really what one of the things that actually
yeah.
probably screwed with my psyche. Aside from all of the psychological thrillers from the 60s that my parents made us watch during family film night.
Grease was the first musical that I watched on film. It was the first musical soundtrack that I owned, and it's because it's my favorite aunt's favorite musical.
That's so funny. My
Should I be,
my
like, admitting who my favorite family members are on the internet? Like, sometimes my family get petty.
Well, I don't know how many people actually helped you in your time of need during this AC debacle.
You know what? My family likes to rewrite history, so they'll all take credit for whatever I'm talking about. They'll be like, "She's talking about me.
I
It's
see
me."
I seem to recall none of them showed up to help you.
I don't think my aunt actually, like, I
Knows.
stopped talking to people during the heat wave, so I don't think my
Yeah.
aunt actually knows.
Yeah, and, the news just reported it's, like, record-breaking temps all over the country right
All
now.
over the country.
Um,
But
the, um
shout out to all of the aunts letting kids get away with shit right now.
I wish I could be that auntie.
I thought you were that auntie to
I
some
mean, yeah,
kid.
to my best friend's kid,
Yeah.
but, she's not gonna have, like, other people in her life who are gonna get it when she talks about Auntie Julia.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I can text my cousin right now and be like, "Remember how your mom did blah, 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 blah?" And she'd be
Yeah.
like, "Yeah."
Um, she'll know. It's amazing what I remember from.
Well, no, but I mean, like, my cousins and my siblings and I can, like, swap stories.
Yeah.
Like, my niece, in air quotes, isn't gonna be able to, like, share she can share those stories, but
Yeah.
no one's gonna it's just that's it. Like, no one's gonna live in that memory with her in the same way.
So my favorite memories from my aunt's old house is when she had she had a basement and all of the kids were thrown into the basement. And my parents and my aunts and uncles and the adults would be like telling the like really horrific family stories
Oh
and
my
like
god.
really getting like rowdy, 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 rowdy.
Yeah, yeah.
Us kids, because we're all these assholes kids, so we know how to tell a story. We're all in a story in a circle telling their most horrific moments in
Oh, I
time of our
love
life.
it.
Do you remember though? Do you remember when your mom, and then we're reenacting it.
Yes, I love
The
it.
best time. The best time. I'm gonna do a quick skim of my notes to see if there's anything else. Oh, now and then is anti-capitalism
Yes.
because they all pulled their money together and
Mhm.
didn't care who put in more or
Right.
who got that money or
Yep.
whatever, and they all got a treehouse at the end of it, and then they
Yes.
all shared that treehouse. And
Yes.
Rita Wilson wouldn't even take it out of her tree because she's like, "I can't, we all own it."
Yep. And Chrissy got stark raving mad
Mhm.
anytime they had that spend that money on
Yep.
anything but the
It
treehouse.
was for the treehouse. Now, what's her name? Is she the woman from Reality Bites, the weird waitress?
Janine Gruffalo?
Is it? Is that who
Yeah.
that is?
Yeah.
I love Reality Bites. I don't know if I've actually finished it, and I love her, and
What? I literally just rewatched it the other
okay,
day.
so because you were rewatching it, I was like, "Shit, is there another season?" I'm convinced that I finished it, and then I, like, never went to check.
Oh
So
my
maybe
god.
so there it is. I love that she
Wait,
pops up in weird movies. She's also in Romeo and Michelle's.
Reality Bites the movie with Ben Stiller and Winona Ryder and Janine Garofalo. What are
No,
you talking about?
I'm talking about a show on Hulu where it's her raising her kids, and I don't think that these people are the same people
No,
now that I'm picturing.
you're thinking of Better
It's a single mom show.
Better Days
Yeah,
with Paula,
yeah,
fuck, what's her name? Adlon. Pamela
yeah,
Adlon.
because she's a voice actress.
Better Days? Is that what it's
I
called?
don't
That's not
know.
what it's called.
It's a show that slaps.
I have it on my here's the funny part, you guys. I've watched every single season except the new season because the new season is
Yeah,
the final season and I'm not ready for it to be over. Yeah, because her kids are super and she
yeah,
wasn't always Pamela Adlon because I just rewatched Better Things.
better things.
I got it.
And my
I got
final
it.
point for tonight is this movie should have been about Chrissy and Roberta falling in love. And I'm just gonna leave it there.
I do kind of love that the kid who's like, "Hello, dear," when
Who
they're
picked his
kids,
nose?
yeah, ends up being Chrissy's husband. Like, I
I
love
thought
that,
that
and
that
it's
was
so
the
subtle. Like, they're
saddest.
not blatant about it. He just walks into the room and he's like, "Hello, dear," and you're just like, "You married that kid. I'm proud of you, Chrissy."
But I don't know if I'm proud of my people who married the nose pickers that we know from our youth because you know how I feel about mediocre men.
I mean, like,
You know
every
how,
every every boy picks their nose, Natalie.
you know,
If they tell you they don't, they're lying.
like I don't know. It should have been it should have been about
Roberta and
Roberta
Chrissy.
and Chrissy
You know, if
falling
they
in love.
do decide to reboot it, I think that that could potentially be the storyline.
Yeah.
And it'd be nice to see some I literally can't recall one single black person in this film.
Yes. I would also make sure that there were people of color.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not just like the homeless guy that's from the war.
Yeah, like Crazy
Like and
Pete and the vet cannot be the black people.
they can't be the people of color.
You need to make one of those little girls one of the black people.
Yeah. And
Because
she can't be renting her house. Like, she has to own her house like they all own
Mhm,
their house. Like, it can't
mhm.
be some tragic ass situation.
Right, right.
She can't
Because,
be
you
the
know,
one with
in
the dead mom. She can't be the one with the deadbeat dad. She has to be Chrissy.
yeah, she has to be Chrissy. Because, you know, I realized that while I accepted white narratives in the
Mhm.
90s, I am finding myself very frustrated with shows that could easily
Yeah,
not be centered around white characters,
right.
but who run with a diverse group of people. Because the show is still centered around whiteness when the main character is white.
Yeah.
And then you have the quirky ethnic
Ah,
friends.
the
Like I
sassy
thought we had
one?
grown past that.
Yeah. No.
It makes me sad.
Mm-mm.
I'm looking at you, Maggie, on Hulu.
Oh, I haven't watched it yet.
It's cute, but it's centered around this white girl,
Yeah.
and you know all the characters around her are not white,
Mhm.
and they're all quirky.
I truly do miss the B plots in movies where we learn the most about the eccentric person in town.
Mhm,
Like, I
mhm.
miss that being the B plot.
You know, and I said it earlier, and I'll restate it again. There's something I wish they would bring back being
Mhm.
committed to the one storyline,
Yeah.
and then you have maybe the line B,
Yeah.
and just sticking with that.
I miss us actually
That's
I
why
miss
Top Gun did so well because it was such a simple fucking
yeah.
movie.
I miss us getting to be invested in the town and the community that
Yeah.
your show is set in. I'm looking at you, Virgin River. I didn't know
Yeah.
that fucking Virgin River had a dojo until this goddamn season because I don't know anything about the town Virgin River.
Well,
Why?
it's not real.
Okay. Also, well,
And,
neither
like,
is Stars Hollow, but I could probably draw a map of Stars
yeah, they
Hollow.
did a really good job with Stars Hollow is a character in
Yeah.
the show.
And I
Absolutely.
and I
Yeah.
miss that. I miss like knowing that Crazy Pete is the eccentric guy who was not a victim of a murder, but
Fucking
his oh,
shit. Come on.
I can't think of any more songs
There we
from
go.
okay. Oh, I just saw one. Ticket to Ride. Ticket to Ride.
Yeah,
That's
that's a
another
great
one.
song
Yeah.
too. But you're right about Virgin River because how many times did we both go, wait, this city's on a river.
Where the hell
This
did they
town is
get
on a river.
where the hell did they get a dojo?
Why are they surrounded by a lake?
When do you think it's appropriate for us to just get to bitch openly about season 4 in all of Virgin River?
Well, it's been out a full week starting tomorrow.
Okay, so when do you think it's polite to give out spoilers and start reenacting Mel and Jack fights?
I mean, after tomorrow, I feel like it's fair game.
Do you want to be Mel or do you want to be Jack?
I think I could do a really good Mel.
I believe so. And then I will just look at you open-eyed and be like, I'm sorry, did you think that that was a problem? And then you can just tell me, I didn't say it was a problem. I just said it was something that I noticed.
Because I can't make you feel bad.
And then my hands can come up here and I'll be like, so is this something I'm fixing for our relationship or not?
God, that show. They're getting. Did I tell you I read an article somewhere that said they're getting a whole new showrunner for season 5?
Yes. So hopefully it's better. Maybe someone will commit to getting us through these first 5 months of Virgin River. Because in the timeline, I'm convinced it's only been 5 months.
Well, because I mean, think about it. Charmaine was probably already like 8 weeks when she found out she was pregnant.
Right.
Twins don't ever make it to full term.
Mm-mm.
There's not enough room.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, it's probably been 5 to 6 months. Which leads me to the fuck are you doing?
4 seasons.
Falling in love and also 4 seasons, first of all. And the fuck are you doing falling in love after 6 months?
My sister is convinced that this show will never leave the first year and that Charmaine will always be pregnant because they don't actually want to deal with having to deal with babies in plots.
I just can't. Like I told
She's
you
like,
this
they don't
on,
want to deal with babies.
I told you this over well, they don't I mean, yeah. I told you this the other day when we were watching it together. I said, I miss the days when television seasons would end and as we aged 4 months, so did the show.
Right.
Because then it's September now. So we can all assume we're all in 6th grade now. As opposed to this shit that picks up. And Younger did the same thing. Younger had 7 seasons. And when you watch it straight through, you're like, okay, yeah, this is maybe a year and a half in Younger land.
Yeah.
But when you spend 7 seasons and you think, why the fuck is Liza so mad and like scared about getting married to Charles? I'll marry Charles. And
Right,
then
it's
you
been
remember
7 years.
yeah, exactly. And then you remember, oh, technically in Younger land, it's only been like a year since her divorce.
I was with Eliza though. She don't have to get married just to like again abate a mediocre man's ego.
Listen, yes, when you've been a person who's already spent time in a marriage with a trash partner, totally get it. I've been a single adult female my entire adult life with a few stints with having boyfriends. I would love someone to come in and take care of half the bills.
I'm going to take a picture just to post on another group. Let me make sure that that says, and now for the moral of the show. Okay. Oh no.
Did you take it? I'm still posting.
I'm not going to get it exactly right. And that's what's irritating. Should I just take a video for this?
I was going to say, you should probably do a video. Yeah.
Well, you know, now I'm timing it. Because I have a Facebook group that's really gonna love that. I'm gonna be like, we weren't even talking about Virgin River. It's just the moral of every show that I do.
OMG.
It's a trash show that wastes our time.
Yeah, and you know what?
I deserve compensation.
Yeah, I just don't. We've had this conversation.
Mhm.
Why the fuck can't I get a job?
No.
My samples aren't bad, I thought.
I
I
mean,
did
they
a
can't be
play in
Virgin River
I had a play
bad.
debut, a one-act play debut in 2019. I cannot tell you how many people who went to that play and then texted me and was like, there was like 5 other one-acts, and they were like,
Mhm.
"Yours was the best one." So why can't I get a fucking job, Natalie?
I don't know.
Should I just start putting it on my blog? Should I just start
Yeah,
putting shit on my blog?
you should start putting shit on your blog.
Fuck.
Do you know that Virgin River is based on books? Like, people read the series of books.
I did know Virgin River is based on books. And so here's my thing, because Humboldt County is like several hours north from
Yeah.
here. It's like a coastal-ish county in California. So when
Mhm.
they talk about how quickly they all run to Sacramento, I'm just
Yeah.
like, have you never done that drive?
It's a bad drive.
I don't think this person understands. And then the other part of it too is like, oh, we're driving through and we're gonna stop in Portland. Do you understand how far Portland is from fucking Humboldt?
It's a bad drive.
Like, is it 7 hours or is it 6? From where I am in
Mhm.
California, which is 90 miles south of Sacramento,
Mhm.
to the border of Oregon is a
Yeah.
6-hour drive.
No, it's a trash show. It wastes our time. I want
Portland is a
compensation.
12-hour drive if
You know what?
if I drive straight through and don't stop.
I'm going
Sorry.
to start abandoning doing TikToks that are actually based on my podcast episodes,
And
and I'm
just
literally just gonna do bits where I say, "This is what I deserve compensation for." I just Stephen Moffat, looking at you.
yeah.
You owe me compensation twice for Doctor Who and
And
Traveler's
Time
Wife.
Traveler's Wife, which got fucking
Fucking canceled. You
canceled.
couldn't even swindle them into season 2, and yet somehow we're getting season 2 of Just Like That. Make it make sense.
And again, you and I both read the book.
Yeah,
I think we could have done a really good adaptation. See, where was the book during our lives about the show, Natalie?
it was on that bookshelf over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was. So it's like, again, it's one of those things. And Mindy Kaling actually pointed out on her Instagram,
Yeah.
maybe or her Twitter years ago, she commented, she's like, I don't understand asking for writing samples of original works, because when she was coming up, or maybe it was in one of
Mhm.
her books, because when she was coming up, they wanted you to write a spec script of whatever
Yeah.
show it was you were trying to be on. And to me, that makes more sense, because then you're actually demonstrating you understand the characters and what the dialogue is that they would say and who they are.
But
And
it's
that's
also
not
easy
really
for them to steal your ideas for free.
well, and so steal the fucking spec script I wrote, not the TV show I hope is going to win me an Emmy.
You know, here's for our final question.
Okay.
Now and then, still comfy?
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
really just didn't. I was like, man, I feel bad, but I'm still comfy with it.
Why do you feel bad?
I
'Cause
don't
of the
know, because there's
lights?
no black people in it.
But the soundtrack's so good and
The soundtrack is really good, but you know what it was? What really, like, why I think where the guilt comes from? Because so much of the 90s
Mhm.
of what I was allowed to watch
Yeah.
was very white,
Mhm.
and same with, like, the world I was living in.
Yeah.
So, like, even though we were a mixed race family, like, it was still a heavy
Yeah.
white influence in my life, and so there's a lot of stuff I'm learning in adulthood, especially about the 80s and 90s black culture, where I'm just like, man, we missed out on that as a family, and how much more confident in my racial identity would I have been had I not been the outlier all the time
Right.
and not constantly like forced to live in a predominantly white world.
Yeah.
And I think that's where that came from, because I saw myself in these girls.
Mhm.
I wanted to be these girls. I shit
Mhm.
you not. I used to ride my bike around the neighborhood with my feet up on the handlebars like that.
Yeah.
I
Going Ticket
emulated
to
Yeah,
Ride.
I emulated them so
Yeah. It
much.
was a great movie. That movie fucking slaps.
Mhm.
I love also, the reason I picked the picture that I did for the socials is because I love when you have kids and adults playing the same character and they take a
Mhm.
really cute group picture like that.
And I
It's a
think
bit
they
that
did
gets me every time.
Yeah, and I think they did a really good job at casting the
Yeah.
younger and the older Oh, I was gonna tell you, the girl that plays Chrissy died of a heroin overdose.
Yikes.
Yeah. I was looking, I was like, "What has she been up to lately?" Nothing.
Dead.
Um,
She dead.
yeah, she kinda had a it's not it from the way it reads online, it sounded like she kinda had a hard time
Well,
in life.
does she have a great aunt that wants to morbidly tell us that story?
26, she was
Oh
26.
god.
Yeah, and that made me sad, and then I thought, "God, I don't
What
know."
happened to Sam? Little Sam?
Oh,
Because Christina
Gabby
Ricci
Hoffman?
became
Gab
Christina Ricci,
Yeah,
and
Gabby
Thor
Hoff
what does Gabby Hoffman do?
What isn't she doing? She
Tell
was on
me.
Girls, she's
I didn't
in
watch
what
that shitty show, Girls. Like,
Okay, well, I watched it because I wanted to live in New York, and I am embarrassed by the
it's
fact that I
fair.
watched it
That's
because
fair.
I'll
Lena
tell you
Dunham's
about my
face
opinion.
makes me mad.
Yeah, I think that
So
she's an interesting person. She has done a ton of stuff lately. She was in Transparent, which ended in 2019.
I
She
need to watch
was
Transparent.
I didn't watch Transparent,
Okay. All right. Well,
but she came up again for me in Girls because I did watch Girls in I think after it was all done in 2018, and I thought, "Oh, good for you." But she's consistently worked like every couple of years
maybe
since now
it's
and
just
then.
like I've never recognized her adult face.
You know what it is? It's because her adult face looks so different from her childhood face.
Mm.
Like her brow is very strong and prominent, which I don't know if you get that from her when she's a kid, if that makes sense.
Oh. Okay, this is bringing up sense memories. I'm gonna ask you a question offline.
Okay.
Um,
We have a private chat,
we do have a private chat.
but I feel like you should just tell me offline.
Yep. All right. I am also still comfy. I'm still comfy, even though they made teeny a sex symbol. Like, I loved it. I
Mhm.
thought that that was like that is the exact way that I too felt sexy at 13 years old. Like it's all just talk. It's
Yeah.
all just me doing fake up makeup scenarios in my head. Like
Bad makeup.
bad makeup.
Didn't I tell you? I was like I voice memoed you this, right? I was like, Ask me why I'm 5 minutes into this movie and I'm emotional."
I'm emotional.
Like,
I love this movie. You know what? At one point, we will have to confront the comfort movie that still makes me comfy, even though it's uncomfy. But you're just gonna have to stay tuned. um, Jules, introduce yourself first, and then I'll do plugs.
okay. As a reminder to all of our friends watching on YouTube and potentially listening to the replay at some point in time, Julia Washington, host of Pop Culture Makes Me Jealous, where we analyze pop culture through the lens of race or gender and sometimes both. I am the creator, producer, and host of that show,
Mhm.
and it's pretty good. You can find it wherever you find your podcasts. We also have merch available. I am wearing our Hey Friends t shirt. I'm showing it off
Yay!
for people in the video, but if you're listening to the audio, you can't see it.
But there are links.
But there are links. You can find me on Instagram at Pop Culture Makes Me Jealous or at the Julia Washington. Very accessible on the Instagram. Love talking about movies and television and pop culture. On the podcast page, on my page, I do book reviews and musings about being a solo parent and why
Mhm.
it sucks being a millennial as capitalism falls.
And I, of course, am Natalie Katona, your host of To All the Men I've Tolerated Before, your Midwest Hollywood hot host of To All the Men I've Tolerated Before. We drop episodes every Thursday. This Thursday is How the Hell Am I Supposed to Date? Could anyone tell me? And last Thursday was The Men That Wendy Cooper Tolerated During Her Career. Um, In 2 weeks, we will be on the Pop Culture Makes Me Jealous. It should be us at this point. I don't know.
Yeah.
Why are you confusing me? Pop Culture Makes Me Jealous. For Still Comfy Mamma Mia, featuring Paige from For Folk's Sake.
We're very excited.
We're very excited. Another movie that I will get to sing the intro for.
It's ABBA.
It's ABBA.
Fucking
Everybody,
awesome.
are we just picking movies that have soundtracks that I have memorized? I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
We have a Patreon. I'm designing merch. If we get 25 members on the Patreon, I will make you cards with stickers and be your pen pal. Everyone, I'm wildly overwhelmed and love to just keep heaping it on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
All right. This has been Still Comfy, and you will have to stay tuned until every Tuesday night on Instagram we do One Tree Hill.
Right now we're doing One Tree Hill.
Right now we're doing One Tree Hill. We do the TV shows on Instagram. We do the movies on YouTube. Yeah. It's called Sharing the Wealth.
Yes, because we're just too delightful to
We're too delightful.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, you should join us next Tuesday to figure out how many times Jules is going to ask me if Dan Scott becomes a good person. I've answered it.
Inquiring minds. I just can't. I know.
I've told you no.
I'm holding out hope. I'm just holding out hope. I don't know. No. It's just a lot.
Yeah.
I will share with our friends listening that after we're done with One Tree Hill, we will visit the new adaptation of A League of Their Own, which will be on. You have Amazon Prime, right?
Amazon Prime, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Just checking because that's what it's going to be on.
I would have gotten a login. What?
I will tell you offline.
Okay. I think Chris Evans texted Jules.
No. Mario should have been working on that this last hour
and a half. So everyone, honestly, there's no shortage of us on the internet.
Yeah.
We will answer your DMs. We will answer your story replies and your comments.
Oh,
go for it.
And we're planning a live show with Mario.
And we are planning a live show with Mario.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Details pending because we haven't worked it out yet.
No, but we are putting it out there. You can look for that at some point when we have the details.
So I don't know what to say at the end of this show because when we do One Tree Hill, I go, see you next week on the River Court. So I'm just gonna say, grab a mug of your favorite hot drink and you stay comfy out there. Should I be on the morning news?
We should work on our closing sign off.
I think that was wonderful. I think there should just be a montage of how I close these shows. Someone make me a fan montage.
Someone who's musically talented, because none of my music friends are responding to me. You would love to contribute to our show by making a theme song for Still Comfy.
I've got someone I can ask.
We will not say no.
So it's not just me going like, hey, this is the intro music for the show. I don't want to be anything other than what I've been trying to be lately. One day, comfort people, you might get to hear the moment where I had to swallow the fact that I'm not a good singer. Because I had that shame moment one time where you really think you're good, but I wasn't.
We all think we're good.
And I'm going to leave you on that cliffhanger. Good night.